Guardian. Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian.
This is Eyes Up Guardian for Monday, December 19th, 2022. Episode 1. Wow, inaugural episodes there. I don't know. Easy? Not easy? They're formidable. Folks that have known my content know that I've done podcasts before, but taken off for the past several years and decided, hey, you know what? I missed it, and I really want to up my journalistic integrity and, branch out and do new things. And, well, not new things, but, be a better, more well-rounded individual. So we're back in the game, and this time we're focusing on a game, Destiny 2, to be precise. Now, we've done several of these episodes in the past, but from a lore perspective, they're not going to be canon. We're going to start fresh. So what is this show? What's the point of it? The big point of it is me just wanting to do podcasts again, and again, focusing on something like Destiny and broadening my horizons as somebody who reports news. That's what this is. It's a news show. It is a recap, a weekly recap of what's going on in Destiny. And players know that sometimes that's a lot, sometimes that's not so much. So right now we're very fortunate in that there is a lot going on, and that means my job's significantly easier than it will be come late January when season 19 is winding down and everybody's all giddy for Lightfall, and Bungie inevitably doesn't give us any information. So, release schedule, we're looking at Thursdays. Thursdays are ideal for me. One, wife's out of the house. I can loudly record this show without worrying about interrupting her work. And two, we have our TWAB that releases that day. So being able to kind of pour through whatever Bungie has deigned to give us is going to be good content fodder. Now, that being said, we aren't getting any more TWABs for the remainder of the year, so we'll have to wait until the new year. But again, we have plenty of content with the weekly season of the Seraph, and then, of course, the Dawning. But I don't know how much we're really going to do about the Dawning past this week. So, as far as format, timing, again, Thursdays, general news, and then I'd like to keep them between 20 minutes and a half hour. Definitely not the hour long, just content filled, the unwashed asses that we had, or Monster Our Week, which was that a half hour, an hour? I don't remember. Anywho, we want to make these short, digestible, to the point. So, let's get into it. We had Season of the Seraph kick off, which is really my dream season kind of come true, where after years of... has it been years or has it been only a year? Either way, it's been a very long time since our boy Rasputin has come back home. And this season is all about restoring him to his former glory. Now, that being said, I'm going to forewarn you guys, spoilers. I went ahead and spoiled the season for myself, which means I'm going to spoil it for you too, because what they do with Rasputin is concerning. So this is your spoiler mark now. Just turn off this first episode. Don't click the subscribe button and give me all kinds of negative reviews on iTunes, because here we go with spoilers. So the concept of this season is that in Rasputin's last encounter with the darkness outside of Io, the Warmind was essentially slapped down like a little bitch. This comes after the season prior, where we're building him up. We were working on upgrading his facilities, getting more war sats in orbit. We watched in one of Destiny's, I think it was a second live event, where it took way too long, but over the course of an hour, Rasputin shot down the Almighty and, had it crash down outside the last city. So we had this huge, powerful, amazing AI Warmind, and he's running on all cylinders, and then the darkness comes in and it's like, oh man, it's going to be watching these two juggernauts duke it out. And then, no. The darkness just slaps Rasputin and he goes offline. Anna Bray then works to restore, or not restore, but save what she can into an Ingram. And that's kind of where this story then picks up with Rasputin, is that he is in a degrading Ingram, and Anna has been working on a body, but to upload the Ingram to the body, they need to make sure they have as much of Rasputin as possible, and one that's not heavily damaged like he is in his current state. So we enlist the help of resident douchebag Clovis Bray, who was one of the original designers of the Rasputin project outside of his initial birth as a monitoring system for the Ares 1 project. So, anywho, it's an uneasy alliance, and we have Clovis, Anna, and Elsie all working together to restore Rasputin, while Osiris, having recently awoken from his nap, is being a pain in everybody's butt, and then also the awoken Queen Marisov is joined in. So there's a lot of characters that are real heavy hitters in Destiny lore that are really working together. And then we see the return of the Ikelos weapons. We have new Seraph weapons. Essentially, if you're a huge Rasputin nerd like I am, you just got this big raging boner for this Russian robot. This is prime material for this season. So I've been loving it, even though Bungie has had the seasonal content model on essentially I don't know if hamster wheel is the right term. They've figured out what works for them, and it's not deviating from that, which gets a little stale and a little boring. Things have been shaken up this season in that the seasonal activity isn't 6-man, it's now 3-man, and you have to solid snake your way into these Seraph bases, and they're longer than the traditional seasonal activity, which is both good and bad. It's more of an investment, and players have to bring their anti-champion mods, which restricts the loadout. There's give and take. There's good and bad with it, which is just kind of how Destiny works, and we're not going to see any changes with that for probably a year or maybe longer, because it's a big, slow-moving giant, and any course correction it's going to come months down the line. So what we have then is, in a story where we're going to restore Rasputin, Clovis Bray has taken up residence in the exoframe that will inevitably host Rasputin. And again, spoiler warning here, later in the season we will finally finish rebuilding Rasputin's Ingram and then get him uploaded, at which point it's revealed that, Clovis was going to betray us the whole time. He was going to use this newfound power to do what he initially wanted to with the creation of Rasputin and, blow up the Traveler and install Rasputin in his place, with Clovis, essentially having his hand on the gun and ready to cock and pull it at whatever time he needed. So it's not surprising, but what is surprising is then that Rasputin ends up having to sacrifice himself to save us. It's disappointing in that we've waited so long to see Rasputin come back, and then to have him die off, kind of. It's a self-sacrifice moment, to be sure, and, Rasputin has always been there for the betterment of humanity in his own unique way, which may or may not have involved pulling the trigger on the Traveler and killing off masses of Guardians, and even killing off humans themselves for the greater good. He's a questionably good character at best. But, and this might just be me simping for him, I'm sad. I don't want to, I just got him back. Don't take him away from me. But the prevailing theory or hope, wish, whatever you want to call it, is that then Rasputin comes back in a new form, kind of like what we had with Uldren Sov and Crow. We have a ghost, a sparrow, and a ship, all themed around Rasputin, but bearing a new name, Archangel. And we know that people are going to die, and leading into Lightfall, we're gonna be put on our back foot. And so my hope, my wish is that even though Rasputin's gonna die, they bring him back as a guardian. And with that title or name, Archangel, which has been tied to those three pieces. So sad, but in a way, like, it gives them a chance to do something new with a character, even though I would have loved to have this all-powerful, like, when you have Rasputin in that trailer, or not trailer, but cutscene at the end of Warmind, where he's got the big booming voice and he's just like, no, I'm gonna fuck everything up. It's awe-inspiring. I loved it, and now they're look at how they massacred my boy. So yeah, it again, it's kind of how Bungie just does things with Destiny, where it's give and take. There's good and bad. So, Season of the Seraph is going to run until we get into Lightfall, which will start, I think, beginning of February. Excited for that. Not so much the aesthetic. I wasn't a big fan of the Vaporwave 80s synthwave aesthetic. So to see that come back is disappointing, but I am excited to see the story move forward, where we have, Callus reborn as a disciple of the Witness, and we get new strand abilities, and we're exploring a city that's not a ruin for the first time. That's going to be pretty amazing. In addition to, whatever we have for new seasons, new weapons, all that fun stuff. Like, I've been on the fence with Destiny for the past several months, just because the story hasn't felt like it's really going anywhere. We had Season of Plunder prior, where we had the ultimate disappointment of, we just brewed a cup of tea for Osiris, and now he's not possessed, but the community seems to think he might be possessed again, this time by Nezrak. And, I haven't dug too much into that one, but it definitely seems plausible, which is disappointing that, Osiris, even though I don't like him as a character, he's very egotistical and just all around. He's like, I'm the smartest guy in the room, and you're all gonna know it. It's annoying. So I wouldn't mind seeing him die permanently, but it is a bit tired that they pulled the same trope twice of him being possessed, if that is indeed the case. And it makes me question, just what kind of a relationship did he and Saint 14 have, where Saint's like, oh yeah, no, this is definitely my partner, he's back, where these two ancient evil entities can portray him well enough that, this couple that's been together for potentially centuries doesn't realize, oh, hey, that's not the love of my life. That's a puppet being controlled by an ancient evil. But we'll find out more later. I wish they would do something with Osiris in kind of a final way. Like, quit using him in this manner. So what else we got? We got the Dawning. The Dawning is always a good time. It's actually my second favorite event in Destiny, right behind Festival of the Lost. So that's just because I'm a sucker for Halloween. But, Evil Levante comes back, our favorite space grandma. We get to bake cookies, we throw snowballs, and completely busted strikes. And this time we have an event card, so we can work on our Great British Bake Off Star Baker title, and you can get that seal. And it's, along with Season of the Seraph, has kind of renewed my interest in Destiny, in that I have a huge interest in getting these seals and titles, and kind of completing off these logs and really getting invested in the game. And I'm using them as kind of the carrot on a stick to keep me playing. And so the Dawning is certainly helping with that. I am a whale for Destiny, where oh, look at that fancy armor set. I definitely need that in my collection. I'm going to wear it for 2 weeks and then, oh, what's that? Another one? Let me buy that. It's a bad, crippling, addictive habit. But no, I love the holiday season. Snow falling, pretty lights, drinking cocoa, and everybody's kind of winding down for the end of the year, but we're all happy and we're enjoying our time together. And I don't know, it's just it I feel it brings out the best in people in what could arguably be trying times for a lot of us. So to see that embodied in a game, like I'm a sucker for holidays and games anyways. It kind of began with World of Warcraft, where you have their versions of real life holidays, and it just, I don't know, I've always been into it. And when Destiny started doing it, I'm like, oh, I'm doubling down on this. And so being able to play my favorite game and enjoy some of my favorite holidays in it has always been a treat. And I don't know, there's just something about, like, it builds these bonds, where it's weird to think that we have the ever-present threat of the darkness moving in. We have the Witness, his new disciple, Callus. Xivu Arath is coming in. We're trying to restore a fractured war mind to a body, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. But hold on. Pump the brakes. We got some cookies to bake. It just... The paradox that we have in Destiny, where we can put everything on hold rather than kind of plan these seasons out where we have a lull. Like, it would have made more sense to have Season of the Plunder now, where we're just essentially raiding Elixni ships. Oh, no. Now we can do our baking. No, let's put everything on the line and also try to balance that with baking. And, it's funny when it gets pointed out where Shah Han in the Cosmodrome's like, oh, well, if you've got time to be baking cookies in the tower, I guess it's not all that bad. It's like, one, fuck you, Shah Han. We don't like you. You're a terrible character. And two, Grandma Levante only shows up, a couple times a year, and only once do I get to bake cookies, so I'm going to bake all these cookies. So I'm almost done with the seal and almost have the title. Hopefully get that done by the end of the week here. Really just got to double down and finish off a couple of the triumphs. But it's fun. It's enjoyable. What else we got? We got the TWAB. There wasn't too much said this last week, and I know you might be thinking in the back of your head, oh, you said these are Thursdays. I've been meaning to record the show for weeks now. Thursdays haven't lined up well for me, so this Monday I'm like, you know what? I've got the newsletter coming out. I need to get the episode in here, so you're gonna get 2 episodes this first week. So Thursday, even though there's not a TWAB, we're gonna be kind of going over, the story highlights for the season and maybe deep diving into something else. We'll figure it out. But not much in this last TWAB for the year. Really just talking about the Dawning and their charity events, and not leaking, but teasing what's going to be happening with Iron Banner when that returns on January 3rd. And we get my favorite Iron Banner armor sets back. It's what my Titan rocked in D1. So I'm very, very excited about that. I'm really itching for the loadout system in Lightfall, because I've got so many different, so back in the early 2000s there was a game called City of Heroes, and it was essentially a superhero MMO, and you had these different costume slots where you could click this button and your character transforms and they change their costume. And aesthetics and looks and overall design has always been something that's very important to me in games. I will sacrifice stats so my character looks cool. And so I have 2 or 3 looks I like in Destiny 2, and I'm constantly having to manually assign them. So loadouts are going to be huge. Just hit a button and all of a sudden I look like X or Y. And this Iron Banner set is going to be part of that, because I really want to recreate my D1 Titan, because I loved him. Otherwise, we have the Bungie Game to Give event, where you can earn unique ghost shells, emblems, and then of course we have our beloved community manager, Damage04, stepping down and venturing on to something new in life at the end of the year. It's a very sad time. I enjoy my interactions with him when Destiny 2 launched, and how he's always been kind of a champion for the community, and he's not had the easiest job of balancing what Bungie's vision is with community expectations. I definitely don't envy that position, but he handled it extremely well, and it will be sad to see him go, but wish him the best in what what he'll be doing next in life. So we'll keep an eye on that and give him whatever support he needs. Beyond that, not a whole lot in the TWAB. And again, we won't have any until the beginning of the next year. So that really just leaves us with one thing. And that was last night we had a clan event. And I think I'm going to be sprinkling these in because for me, Destiny has largely been a solo game. I have extreme social anxiety. And again, if you're familiar with me, especially in like an online persona, I try very hard to put out a lot of content, be it, writing, artwork, podcast. And I've been working hard on being more active on social media like Mastodon, because Twitter is a giant dumpster fire. But these things don't come easy to me. I deal with anxiety to a great deal in my personal life, and that carries over to gaming, where I have social anxiety. I constantly feel that I'm underperforming, I'm not doing well enough, I'm a garbage player, people don't like me, blah, 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 blah. But I had, this past year, joined up with a fantastic clan in Destiny 2, and I've been working really hard to be more active with it, and, running raids and participating in the Discord chats, and while not necessarily making friends, like, oh, hey, John, how the kids been? Nothing like that. More so just being a part of this community and being recognizable in terms of like, oh, hey, Zero ran X with us last week. We can have him do this. We know he's decent at it. Or, sharing common interests like, building Gundam kits. So last night we had a event where the clan leader put together a scavenger hunt we've had. It was called Liberty's Mysteries. We, over the past week, had a Discord channel devoted to it where he would post up a puzzle we had to solve. And that kind of tied into the event itself, where it gave hints as to what to expect and what to bring, but ultimately it broke down into being a scavenger hunt where he, and I really applaud him, Liberty did a fantastic job of putting the event together. There was a PDF of 17 different images taken around the Dreaming City, and the idea is we had an hour and a half maybe, go around and recreate these photos. Like, you didn't have to do them perfectly, but find where they were, and a lot of them were really hidden. And we had 5 or 6 teams going simultaneously trying to recreate these photos. So it was fun, a lot of fun to apply my Destiny knowledge and like, oh, hey, I know where this is, or kind of reminiscing, because even though I was active when Dreaming City and Forsaken came out, I avoided it like the plague. I didn't get the aesthetic. I didn't like it. It didn't agree with me. So my knowledge was limited compared to the people I was working with. But it's like running a raid with them, and that I've never felt less than or inadequate. I felt like I was part of a team. And even though I have severe apprehension about going into these events, this group has been incredibly welcoming to me and made me feel like I am a part of a community. And I couldn't be more grateful for that. So if, you are like me and have, anxiety in general, or just more specific like social anxiety, and have never embraced part of Destiny, be it Trials of Osiris, raiding, dungeons, it's worth going out on a limb and trying something new, and joining up with a clan. It might take a couple tries. I went through one larger and then another smaller clan before I found my current, and it's not always going to be easy, but when you find the one that clicks, it really clicks. And I've been able to do a lot of content I never thought I could before, like dungeons and raids. And we had Spyro the Watcher come out this past week, and I was able to do it day one, just like I did Duality before, and that was thanks to people in this clan willing to give me a shot, and we're figuring things out together, and we're having fun and clicking. And so I am really, really thankful and grateful that I found them this year, because it's taken not only me but my career to new levels, because I'm able to explore this content and then write about it. So yeah, it's been good. I don't really have a whole lot else though. This was kind of, like I said, an introductory episode. A good chance for me to get my feet wet again, and I've run through the topics that I have on my little yellow sticky note. So Thursday we'll probably dive a little more in depth into what's been going on with the story and season of Seraph. I really want to not necessarily deep dive, but kind of go over and recap what happens there, and then anything else that's going on in the larger Destiny community. Maybe we could do things like God rolls. I don't know. We'll find out as we go. So don't have an outro. Don't have anything else special. Just smash that like button and subscribe. And no, you do what you want. But it's been fun, and we'll talk soon.